I know, it's that part of the summer where there's not really much going on in NBA season, so everybody goes crazy when the NBA drops their schedule, and everybody lost their mind talking about who has the most back-to-backs, the biggest winners, and there's certainly a lot of side topics here and there. Opening night is going to be amazing. OKC finally receiving the recognition that they rightfully deserve by not only being featured on Christmas, but also is tied for the most national televised games in the NBA. Huge W for the Thunder, the defending champions. Not so much for the Philadelphia 76ers though. They're tied for the most back-to-backs in the NBA, which is brutal for a team that's trying to manage both Paul George and Embiid. Boy, that genuinely sucks. And what's probably more important than anything else is that the NBA is finally understanding who are the young stars they have to promote. New Orleans only got 2 national TV games because we all know, bro, Zion's not playing games. We have to move on. We have to move in a different direction. Instead, we start to see a noticeable increase in national TV games with the Orlando Magic and the Detroit Pistons, so we can promote Paolo Banchero and Cade Cunningham because those are 2 young stars that are ascending, so they need to be seen more. I think that's a massive problem that the NBA has been dealing with quite some time. This year, they're finally understanding it, not only with that, but again, with OKC as well and the amount of games that they're receiving. But as they deal with those issues, another one is starting to emerge, and quite frankly, I thought a lot of people thoroughly understood what was going to happen in this upcoming season with all the news that happened last year, but sadly not. For those who are unaware, this upcoming season, your NBA viewing experience will be heavily based off of subscriptions, as NBC and their streaming platform Peacock are now in the mix, as well as Amazon Prime. The NBA is moving more in a subscription-based model. This is something that I think a lot of people overlooked with the news that happened in last year's offseason, as many people mourn the loss of Inside the NBA with our favorite unks and Shaq, Kenny, Charles, and Ernie, as they, yuck it up, gave us all the shenanigans, and we sat there and cried in despair of us losing them, or at least some people. It was a mixed result depending on which side of the aisle. However, way too much time was given to us losing Inside the NBA instead of properly comprehending what was coming up. And what really threw a lot of people by surprise on the timeline was when the NBA dropped their weekly network schedule that outlined how the NBA games would be shown on each platform on a day-to-day basis. And boy, is it really, really complicated. Looking at these schedules, some of these names are very familiar. ESPN on Wednesdays and Fridays, ABC on Saturday and Sundays. Even when it comes to NBC, I think some people understood where to watch these games. Some of y'all not young enough to remember when NBA was on NBC. It's way back in the day before your time. But nevertheless, though, NBC games will be shown on Tuesday and simulcast on the streaming platform Peacock, as well on Sunday, but only after the NFL season concludes. But then you have Monday, where it only says Peacock, and then you see a couple of Amazon Prime days as well, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to be exact. And this is where it starts to click for a lot of people. Damn, I'm gonna have to start spending more money on subscriptions, and you're absolutely right. So all the TV money came from, dog, don't you know? No, that's the reason why all these NBA players are receiving money out the wazoo. I mean, somebody got to pay for all that new TV deal, and it's going to be us. I'm actually so surprised that not too many people recognized this last year. Everybody's crying about, oh my God, Shaq and Kenny, they're not going to be here no more. Y'all just completely decided to overlook the fact that, bro, we're going to have to pay effectively. Us, the consumers, will be paying for this new TV deal. Let me break it down for you. So for those who may not thoroughly understand how all this is going to break down. Now, before I get to these numbers, because I know for a fact somebody's going to sit there and tell me in the comment section, oh no, well, technically speaking, I only spend, these numbers are going to vary. First, you have cable. If you want to watch ESPN, you have to have cable. And then once you purchase cable, you will also have access to ABC and NBC. I use YouTube TV, and I've used it for the past handful of seasons. Again, prices will vary. However, YouTube TV with another price increase this upcoming NBA season will be $83 a month. Then you have League Pass. League Pass has been $17 for the better part of the last decade, so that's going to stay the same. Then you have your local provider, which to me is crazy. A couple of years ago, you could watch your local games on cable, but we have now allowed FanDuel, fantasy gambling, to monopolize our viewing experience. And so FanDuel has now effectively bought up a lot of local networks. So you now have to have a FanDuel network if you want to watch your local games. Here in Atlanta, if I want to watch the Hawks, I have to spend $20 a month to do so. So you add that into the fold. And then we have the 2 new subscriptions in the fold. First, Amazon Prime, which is $15 a month. And then we have Peacock, which is $11 a month. Most people don't understand understand this, and this is where a major confusion came from. A lot of people just assume that, oh, well, if it says NBC and Peacock, I can just easily just watch the games on NBC. I don't need to have a subscription at all. Some of these games will be exclusively streamed on Peacock, especially the ones on Monday. On Monday, all those games will be exclusively streamed on Peacock. And then there's also some events, very important events, some of which I believe happen during All-Star Weekend, that again will be exclusively streamed on Peacock. So you have to have the streaming service to watch some of these games. Again, $11 a month. So when you add in the $83 from cable, $17 from League Pass, $20 for your local provider, $15 for Amazon Prime, and $11 for Peacock, you are now spending $146 monthly to get access to every NBA game possible, which is ridiculous. To get an understanding of how much this has increased for us NBA fans, if you go back to the 2018-2019 season, all you needed was 2 subscriptions, cable and League Pass. Because back then, at least here in Atlanta, you did not have to have a subscription to the local provider. The local provider, Hawks games, for me, were accessible once you purchased cable. And back then, YouTube TV was only $40 a month. So once I purchased cable, I would get my local provider, ABC, and TNT. After that, I would just need to purchase League Pass to get everything else, which at that point in time, League Pass was $30. But in total, I would only spend $70. $70 to $146, more than doubling the price to have the same amount of access to the same amount of games. That is ridiculous. Now again, and I know I have to say this because I know someone in the comment section is going to tell me about their specific situation. I understand it. Where you're located, some people still get their local teams given to them through their cable provider. Some places I've heard, like in LA, they be taxing y'all to watch the Lakers. And that's tough. That's tough. They know what they doing. That's tough. And also, yes, there's other workarounds. Like you can go get an antenna, slap it on your big back TV since you're back in the old day to get access to ABC and NBC for free. Spend $25 to get an antenna. And then from there, you can then get $30 a month on ESPN streaming service to watch the ESPN games. So you'll save about $50. But the point still stands. Them introducing new streaming services, especially those that require us to watch pivotal games, such as playoff outings and certain events throughout the NBA season, that is going to increase how much money we as consumers have to pay to get access to the same amount of games that we've always had. And for people out there who are on the model that I've been on, will see a more than double the price that they were just spending a handful of years ago. Now, beyond the increase in money, what does all of this mean? Well, like I stated before, this is effectively where all the new money is coming from in the NBA. The reason why these contracts are getting outrageous and why players are signing for some of the most ridiculous deals that we've ever seen, making nearly $80+ million a year in the upcoming new deals. Like these new deals are going to be ridiculous. It's because of this new TV money with different networks that have decided to put a lot of money towards a commodity that consistently churns out millions of viewers every single time, which they know is really hard to grasp in a dying network such as cable TV. So that's where the money is coming from. The second biggest thing you have to look out for is that ratings more than likely will dip. I already know how the season is going to happen. I'm already calling it right now. Like we're going to get in like December or January and they're going to be like, oh man, the ratings are down. What are we going to do? Like, oh, the NBA's dead. And they're not going to tell you that part of the reason why the ratings are down is because the NBA has decided to stretch out the audience with 5 different subscriptions. League Pass, ESPN, Amazon Prime, NBC, ABC, and Peacock. They are stretching their audience thin in 5 different directions. And I just have a hard time believing, especially when it comes to those exclusively streamed Peacock games where not that many people have Peacock, will be comparable to the games that we've seen showed on TNT over the past couple of years, even if the numbers are slowly going down on TNT. Now, with that being said, I also want to highlight that NBC games will probably see a noticeable increase in ratings in contrast to TNT because you could, technically speaking, watch NBC for free if you buy an antenna. And normally when it comes to those broadcast TV games on ABC, Fox, and NBC, the numbers tend to be higher than cable TV. So to be fair, that tends to be the case. But Peacock and Amazon Prime is going to be very, very interesting to see how many people go out of their way to watch games on those subscription-based models. Amazon, I'm a bit more, optimistic about because a lot of people have Amazon, but Peacock, not so much. I just feel like the numbers are going to be down. Third, and more importantly, this is to me is crazy that all this money that's being introduced into the NBA is being paid from us, the consumer. That's crazy to me. NBA players are making significantly more money they've ever made. The NBA is bringing more revenue. Network TV and all these cable platforms, streaming platforms, they're making as much money as possible. But us as the consumer, we are the one who's paying it. It's coming out of our pocket, and we're not getting a better product. Like, just to be honest with ourselves, it's the same 82 games. It's not as if like we're receiving something brand new or shiny. Like, I mean, sure, Michael Jordan being on some of these games as a guest contributor is going to be extremely interesting, and I do believe that's the biggest selling point to NBC. But when I try to go search up how involved Michael Jordan is going to be on a week-to-week basis on NBC, there is nothing there. They are very vague. There's a possibility that MJ only shows up like once a month and that's it. And they've been really selling it like that's the point. That's why NBC is going to be really worth it, because we're going to have the GOAT back. MJ is going to be back on NBA on NBC. Everything's coming back. The nostalgia is through the roof. Like, they're selling it that way, but none of us knows how often MJ is going to be. And I do believe, and I'm very optimistic, that some of these new people who will be contributors, who will be analysts, who will be commentating the games will be better than what we saw over the past couple of years in TNT, because I do believe it's time to depart. They had their run, they had their time. I do think we need a breath of fresh air of something else, and NBC, I do think they're going to provide us with a lot of positive. But is it enough to double the price within a 10-year period? Is it enough for me to have to purchase a new subscription that I never wanted to? Is it enough to warrant the increase in price in cable? And also Peacock has already claimed that they're going to increase their price as well. Is it enough for that? And I have to say this is no shade to this gentleman, but Binsky on Twitter, I made this tweet and I was basically just saying that this video that I'm making right now, I'm going to drop it because this is ridiculous. And Binsky on Twitter basically told me, like, oh man, what are you complaining about having to buy subscriptions that you already have? No, that's not the case. A, I don't have Peacock. I was never really planning on purchasing Peacock until now. And two, and this is very, very important, I don't understand how we got to this point with this dialogue about what it means to get your money's worth in this economy. And I hate to be this guy, but just because I am privileged enough to afford all these things doesn't mean that my concerns are no longer valid. Brother, it's the same 82 games and we're paying twice as much. And I'm all pro player. I'm pro player through and through, but I don't want to hear players complain about having to play back-to-backs. I don't want to hear players complaining about not giving their all on All-Star Weekend. I don't want to hear players complain about anything if me, the consumer, has to spend more money. I don't want to hear that no more. You all are being compensated to levels in which we didn't even comprehend 10, 15 years ago. So much money that players are starting to make, or they're going to make $1 million a game on some of these max contracts. And it's going to continue to go up and up and up as more of these networks and streaming providers start to understand that sporting events are the only thing that will consistently churn out millions upon millions of viewers for them. It's really the only thing at this point. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's actually a huge reason why I have partnered with a platform called Playback.tv, where if you have League Pass, you can pair your League Pass account with Playback TV and watch the games live with me every time I stream. That's the reason why I do these things, so you, the consumer, can at least get something in return. If you enjoy watching me, you can enjoy watching me watching NBA games. But the NBA really isn't providing much value outside of what they've already been giving us over the past 10, 15, 20 years once they started to introduce cable TV into the fold. And it's crazy. It's not enough that FanDuel gets $20 from us every single month to watch our local teams that we used to be able to watch for free, but they also have to advertise to us in the middle of games as well, telling us the over and unders. Like, goddamn, like, we get it, dog. You want everybody to become a gambler. Like, I get it. We get it, dog. I understand it, bro. So hopefully the viewing experience this upcoming season will be elevated from what it has been over the past couple of years on TNT. But if it's not, and I complain, please understand it's because I have literally paid the right to do so. I did that. You're charging me $150 a month. A month. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Sorry if the end up being a little too ranty, but I'm never going to be silent for you all in particular, especially many of you all just don't have a voice in this. And I may be privileged because of you all, but that doesn't mean that I can't raise these concerns. I think that's just ridiculous. And people cap way too much. They put on a cape for millions and billionaires. I just don't understand that. But yo, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Peace.